Well, I'm going to make a quick video here, and the reason I do this is it would take me too long to write out everything I have to say about this. I bought this for 50 cents at the Baker's Books in Hope, BC. Sorry, I got a frog in my throat. March 1932. So think about that year. You're 2 years into the Great Depression. Not many people could afford to buy this. I believe it was by subscription only. Does it say on the masthead? And who's on the board? See anybody notable? Well, certainly Melville Bill Grosvenor is on the board. Famous Melville Bill Grosvenor. Edson Fairchild Merriam from Merriam-Webster. George Putnam. Oh no, he's U.S. Commissioner of Lighthouses. Evening Star. Rear Admiral U.S. Navy. John Pershing, General of the Armies of the United States. He's the Board of Trustees. Calvin Coolidge. Yeah, formerly President of the United States. Infamous Mr. Coolidge. And Gilbert Grosvenor, editor of National Geographic magazine. So he's the editor. And John Oliver Lagorce, associate editor. So there's all kinds of interesting things here. But think about who the buyers would be. I think it's by... this wasn't on the newsstand. $3.50 a year, 50 cents a copy. Well, 50 cents would buy you one hell of a lot in 1932. I think day wages were, I don't know, but they were pretty damn low. This is the era when everybody else was broke. But the people that could afford to buy the National Geographic or get it sent to them. But look at this. $795 for a Chris Craft, you know, like in this is 1930s. But remember in Something Like It Hot, where Buster Keaton drives away and Trixie, I want to marry you, but I'm a man. Yeah, that's probably a Chris Craft. It's a super elite, super elite little powerboat. $795. And the fares, this is nice. Look at the nice wood inlay stereo. Electric clock. Wow, that's fancy in 1932. $9.95. That'd be, pleasant alarm, $8.50. With illuminated dial, $9.95. Well, that's maybe $100. I don't know them, but that's come $9.95 then. But this is interesting. Colorado. Colorado, scene of some of the worst massacres in American history. The horrible history of the American West with that big cross on it. Nice picture of Glacier Park. Hey, take a trip to California and get a load of this, Yosemite. And look, he's rode Morocco to $57, and here's the Go Empress lines. Doesn't give the fares for Canadian Pacific, but one of the largest tour companies in the world in this American magazine, of course, along with the Union Pacific and elsewhere Canadian National, a whole bunch of British railways. The Olympic Games were being held in Southern California. See, you got the monk there, Catholicism and the domination of the colonial powers over the natives. Lower fares to the ornament, New York NYK line, Seattle and Peru Grace line. Hawaii, look at Hawaii, this is 1932. It's an American territory still. We all know what happened there a few years later. 9 years later. Sorry to laugh at that. Horn on this, $2,000. What's this for? Palmolive shave cream. Oh, because there's another funny ad where I laughed because a woman she wouldn't give in till I fooled him. He wouldn't give in till I fooled him. Oh, you bitch. Goethe Centennial in Germany. This is still when Germany was still an okay thing. It was kind of they were punished by World War I, but they had not yet turned into what they turned into a few years later. 1932, that was all beginning. And there's a thing later. I'm going to go quickly through these. The chocolates. So the French flies the flag over Morocco. I took some shots of this, French-Morocco, leaders of the time. Some really interesting images of like French colonialism. Also the High Atlas. And that's the cedar, not the cedars of the Atlas, but the cedars of the Atlas Mountains, the great Moroccan forest that once was one of the great wonders of the world. And bits of it remain. Look at this shot of the High Atlas. Isn't that something? That's at the Grand Atlas. That's this valley. Whoa! But the trees the British were planting eucalyptus and things, a native fortified village and stuff. You get through here. I'm really interested in this area now because of the Berbers and I'm going to post the photos. But the rest of this gets into a trip over the from Kashmir into see the route from Kashmir there coming up from south from India over into they went a long ways. That's this route of this trip elsewhere in the thing. That's what National Geographic did, was these big epic trips. So this was like from Kashmir over the Kailas range, in other words, through Mount Kailasa, the famous Mount Vayu or whatever, not Vayu, but the great navel of not the navel of the world, but the source of all the Brahmaputra and all the other rivers. The Kilik Pass, and we're really remote parts of Tashkurgan, which is a really, really remote part of China. Where that boundary with Afghanistan is now, I don't know. I'm looking at this one area here. I think Khoshbel, the Kilik Pass, that valley there, that's the Verdanis, the Wajir. Unless that's the Wakhan Panhandle, that tongue of Afghanistan. But some part of it connect to China. Yeah, this is really interesting. I'm going to send this to a friend of mine. A friend of mine who did the Yenisei River. It's one of the longest rivers in the world, from Mongolia or the Altai anyway to Karakoram. I'm not sure. Yeah, really beautiful stuff, and some really beautiful shots also in the back. Also interesting. These are the people that did the river, but this is Tyrol still in 1932, back when Austria was still very different from Germany, and Tyrol is like the south, and it's really connected to Italy, and they are fun-loving people, and this is not as Uberreich, as up over Austria, which is like east of Salzburg, and Niederösterreich, which is like Vienna kind of. And there's like 7-8 major provinces. Tyrol and Vorarlberg, which is almost Switzerland culturally too. That's Innsbruck. Innsbruckig muss die Straßen. It's a famous Innsbruckig muss die Straßen. I still remember it. And yeah, they still dressed like this in those days in 1932. They're more colorful people than the Prussians, that's for fucking sure. And some nice old shots of Germany before everybody started everything else. Some really, really beautiful shots of Central Asia. So I'm glad I bought this, 50 cents. But what really struck me about it was the luxury marketing, including in the back, look at that, $2,900 for a Lincoln V8 two-window town sedan. The gold Chevron, Hoover, vacuum cleaner. But these are for the wealthy people that still had a living while people were living in breadlines and starving. People actually starved to death in the Great Depression. Nobody knows how many died. I don't think anybody was counting. I don't think anybody cared. I don't know if anybody really has that stat. A water lily pool for every garden. Oh, God, yes. And look, a new improved light, little tiny ever-ready battery. Oh, we get some pretty wildflowers for your little boy. White Rock, the leading mineral water. Is that connected to here? I can't remember, but I remember that brand of pop for sure. Yellowstone, North Coast Limited, on the Northern Pacific. North Coast Limited is the train. Joe Hill's Northern Pacific, which John A. McDonald was on the board. A recommendation for membership. This is how you got somebody to get. See, it's what you got when you get a subscription. Sorry, there's a Yellowstone ad there. I didn't get it on camera. Maybe I was looking at it, didn't have that aimed right. There's the White Rock ad. I remember White Rock. I remember that woman, that was a brand of pop when I was a kid. $3 a year. So it's a gift for someone else, and a recommendation for membership. Nominate, so on and so forth. So that's your way to get them to send, here, let us sell you a membership. Should she have been Frank? And oh God, I wish that I saw that and I thought of Anne Frank right away. And I thought, oh God. But it's about having the right razors to make sure your cheeks are smooth, so she won't go like, oh, you're disgusting, get away with me with that stubbly chin. Oh yeah, so men were being groomed for sales. Everything's being sales. And look at that. How many people could own a Great Dane and feed him? Never mind feed him kennel ration. And Grace Line, Panama Mail Service. Yeah, visit 7 foreign countries is probably a nice way to go. All the liner service and the cruise liners I mentioned, the Empress service. Havana, all expense cruises from 95 and up from 9 to 13 days. Woo, travel was cheap. Europe, $100 one way, 180 round trip. And that's with a cabin and a berth, certainly. Cabin. Take your boy to Maine, the heart of England, through Canada and the famed fjords of the Northern Pacific to Alaska. See, wow, that's Canadian National. $90 and up from Seattle, Vancouver, Victoria, or Prince Rupert. All outside rooms. They don't tell them about the weather. You got the good months. So it's nice in the summer, so local Midlands. It's the sales for AT&T. This is your Europe. Crooks Wagonlit, you know? Wagons, which is like Wagonlit means the trains have, the cars have beds. So it's a tour company. Crooks pioneered all the tour services in Europe the same way Canadian Pacific did in North America. And Northern Pacific and Canadian National eventually. Brings a bright sunny glow to the table. Kamloops. And then there's these German people doing the Tyrol. And man, this is a nice thing to buy. And you know, all Geographics, what I really saw was this is all luxury advertising. Because the only people that could be this, but this is all the foundation of what became tourism after everybody got money in the war. Okay, now you can travel like rich people do, right? And you can travel on these cruise liners we had for them. We could travel in them, and CP cars from the 1930s are still used in Mexico for local train travel. They're really neat with the frosted glass and stuff like that. Frosted glass art. But this I bought too. This is a cool little book. There's a bunch of these. That's Yale at its heyday. Yeah, the construction of the CPR destroyed Yale's waterfront, of course. This happens. The railway basically destroys what was there before. It's what railways do. Yeah, I live in a very historic part of British Columbia. That's it there. So I bought a book on that, some Robert Service, and some other things. And I'm going to go through my photos in a while. This is very good. I haven't had a chance to look at it. I should have a quick look at it. My granddad should be in there. I'll have to check. Anyways, if he's not, I better rate the author. No, I'm not bitching, but often history gets away about being overlooked, as I've discovered, especially about him, or forgotten, even by the family, not talked about. You know, well, I'm determined to find out. It's funny how it is, eh? The things you're not allowed to find out are the ones you want to find out. Same with science and politics. And the things I'm getting called for advocating what I'm advocating, it's amazing. It's amazing. The people who don't want to hear the truth just get really, really ugly and call you a bully, call you, insult you, get you say you're aggressive. No, I'm just telling the truth they don't want to hear. It's amazing people's reactions and the condemnations. It's the craziness. Anyways, I'm going to relax now. But that's how to make that.